G'day, Matt from Green and Gold Rugby here, with a few things to look out for during the first test against the Springboks in Suncorp this weekend. I've gone back to the last game the Springboks played, which was against the Argentinians in Mendoza. And one of the things that really stuck out there was their use of the choke tackle. That's where they hold the ball runner up off the ground, forcing it into a maul, and then winning the turnover through a scrum. It happened at least 4 or 5 times in the game against the Argentinians. And the classic way that it happened was with the Springboks using their big back rowers of Vermeulen, Alberts, and especially Lowe to hold the runners up off the ground. Wallabies supporters will remember painfully how Ireland did this to Australia in the last World Cup. If it doesn't force the turnover, it at least slows the ball down, and this is a tactic that the Springboks have obviously been focusing on. Wallabies ball runners will need to watch their body height.
That's well done by Francois Lowe. He's holding that up.
From a strength to a Wallabies opportunity now, and that's around the breakdown. Henneke Meyer's on record as having chosen this back row for their power when it comes to ball running and in defence. But whether it's his game plan or whether it's the speed to the breakdown, we're not seeing this back row trio getting to many breakdowns in numbers. It's usually one man at a time. And what the Argentinians did with forcing 7 turnovers at the breakdown was actually to get bodies over the ball and dominate some of these collisions. Interestingly, Ewan McKenzie has only chosen one jackal in the Australian team, and with Gill not being on the bench. Perhaps Schatz is to play to this strategy as well, where McKenzie sees some opportunity to bulldoze over the ball.
Cleaning out from Argentina, absolutely brilliant.
The other opportunity that I wanted to have a look at is that of the Springboks defensive line. They're using a compressed umbrella defence, and we can see an example of it just coming up here in a minute. What you'll see here is then lined across the midfield quite tightly is the midfield defence. At the end of that is usually Jean de Villiers, and what he'll tend to do is to push that end of that line up quite tightly and corral the attack in. Again, here we can see it compressed in the middle there with Jean de Villiers at the end of that line. Running forwards into the teeth of this defence or just trying to pass laterally across it isn't going to work. But in this example, we see where the Argentinians managed to get around and behind that defence by using very, very simple decoys. Again, when I stop this here, you can see that line compressed in the midfield there with Jean de Villiers at the end, and then JJ Engelbrecht outside of him. Classic front row interplay, the loose head uses the hooker as a decoy for the tight head, and you can see all the sorts of trouble that this causes between Engelbrecht and de Villiers, and all of a sudden the fullback is injected into the line and is clear into space. This isn't the only time this happens in this section of play, and if we cut on here we can see how almost exactly the same pattern happens again. The hooker is used as a decoy once again, with Landandro the halfback passing to Bosch. And once again, JJ Engelbrecht is caught in midfield.
Try Argentina.
From the front-on angle, we can see how this decoy checks the defence, but it's then compounded by the fact that Yanni du Plessis is just a little bit behind the play, leaving a massive gap between himself and Engelbrecht. This is the sort of opportunity I'd love to see the Wallabies exploit, and with the likes of Folau and O'Connor running off Lele Ofano and Cooper, I see no reason why not.